Hello. So I was invited today to talk about implementing UX in data-driven organizations or corporations. So Ben was supposed to talk more about culture, and I'm supposed to talk more about operations. But I'm going to touch. I guess I need to touch on culture a little bit also. I'm not going to discuss it as in depth as Ben did, but as you will see later, I guess inevitably it's part of that. So yeah, so I'm here to talk about how UX and data can play well together in corporations. And I will introduce myself in terms of why I think I was invited to talk about this topic. So my first job was in quantitative market research, which meant we handled a lot of projects for food brands, apparel brands, banks, and what else did we do? Oh yeah, pharmaceuticals. So we did a lot of those classic things like surveys and focus groups on anything from pancake mix to diarrhea medicine. Yeah. And why do we have clients like that? When you're in a market research agency, these are the companies that really care about, as Ben mentioned, their bottom line. They care about sales. They care about customer satisfaction because all of these things are very sales driven. Okay, so those are the companies that go for market research services. Also, they're huge and they have huge budgets. So, otherwise, they couldn't afford it. Anyway, I decided to jump into another company where I wanted to do more qualitative research work. I realized that watching qualitative work was very tempting for me because it was very different. When you're listening to or when you're analyzing surveys and you're just looking at figures all day, you don't get to understand the people who are behind them. So I moved to a different team where I learned TV audience measurement, which was quantitative actually. So yeah, we worked on things like ratings. If you guys have ever worked with media placements, you will be familiar with adhesion and affinity. Adhesion is apparently the percentage of your demographic watching a particular show at a particular time. Affinity is that number versus the Philippine population. Yun. So those are the things that we used to analyze. Ta-da! But also, we did a lot of qualitative research. Sorry for the, I hope it's visible. So we also did qualitative research. And what I learned there in that job, so I was doing those two for 4 years. What I learned in that job was we had to measure things that you don't think are measurable. Like, for example, strength of characterization. Can you imagine having to make a model that would actually predict which type of TV show host would match a TV show? So those were the things that we had to analyze and tie them to ratings. So that's what I learned in terms of qualitative research. And then after, like in the middle of my 12 years, I've been working for 12 years, and in the middle of that, I decided to jump into a digital team. So I had to learn, I did not know at all how to make a website or how to, I didn't even know I don't even know what developers really did. So anyway, so I had to learn a lot of things. I learned digital analytics, so I had to learn how to use metrics. And that's where I got introduced to, of course, Google Analytics and all of the things that you could look at and track. And then also at some point, of course, eventually you get promoted. So I had to manage people. That's when I learned things like KPIs for teams. So it wasn't just about measuring product performance, but then you also had to learn the metrics of people. Like, is this person performing well? Is this team performing well? And so my assumption for today is that I'm invited because I guess I've worked my entire life with data, and now I'm what people call a UX practitioner, so I'm now a consultant. I run Priority Studios, which is a small consultancy. It's just me and my husband. He's more the design part, I'm more the research part. So we work with product teams and creative teams with different, we do different things for different types of companies. And I think that's what I want to talk about today. Because what happened is, I had a lot of corporate experience, and in the past 2 years, I've gotten more exposed to startup teams. And it's a very different way of working. So later on, I'm going to talk about how it was trying to incorporate UX into all those different sorts of companies. So what I'm going to talk about for today is why UX. I know that most of the people in this room already kind of understand this. I don't have to explain it for very long. But I want to focus on whose accountability it is in a company. Second, talk about what types of data companies care about and how that relates to UX. And UX in practice. Like, what does that look like in a process? Like, if you were trying to put that in a company, I mean, I'm not going to go, like, my visuals won't go into full detail, but I can talk about it if I have time. So, one of the things that I guess I feel about UX, or what people misunderstand about UX, is it's trapped in some sort of identity crisis, in the sense that it's sitting somewhere between a business thing and a design discipline. So, you know, those really popular viral articles on UX is not CX and UX is not UI. So, technically, customer experience is a business trust. It's a marketing objective. It's always been known as that. And then you have interface design, which is a design discipline. And somehow, user experience is somehow trapped in the middle. And I don't think people, especially in large corporations, understand what it's supposed to be doing. And one of the things that I'm very disappointed by, or what I hate hearing, is I'm disappointed. Because, well, UX is not about making things sleek. Okay. Because the thing is, you can't really see good UX, not necessarily. And you can't look at something and say, oh, in my opinion, that website has amazing UX. So why is that? Well, like, if you want to soften it, okay, you can, because visual aesthetic is part of providing a good experience. However, it's not the end-all, be-all. And good proof of that is, again, another very viral article. Some of the most successful websites in the world are butt ugly. So these are, these companies, these websites have been around for very long, and they don't look sexy, they don't look pretty. But why are they effective? So basically, they endure. People keep coming back to them, they're useful. And at the end of the day, that means they're providing a very good experience for people, no matter how boring they look. So again, it's not as if you can look at Craigslist and say, oh, it has bad UX, because again, the fact that it has been around in the US and is used by one of the most popular websites in the US means it's serving the American public very well. It's not very popular globally, but in the US, it's really amazing. Okay, so this is also the way that I try to explain to college students, because I teach in college, and before they enter the corporate world, I try to already brainwash them. Yes. So I want them to understand that when you enter the corporate world and you try to tell yourself that you're a UX designer, that you're doing UX, there are actually different levels to it. You can either be doing UX on an interface level, on a product level, or on a corporate level. And later on, I'm going to talk about why it's important to differentiate or understand for yourself on what level you're sort of conversing. Okay, because, yeah, later. Let's not get into that first. So, I just want to go, push a little bit more on why UX for the people who have probably not encountered it as much, because I see some new faces. So, why user experience? Because again, for many years there has been user interface design. Why did people bother to make a new thing which confuses people anyway? So, UX sort of came out of the ooze after Web 1. Web 1 was when, if you wanted to create a website, you had to know how to code. And basically, it was a lot of engineers creating websites for engineers. Because, a lot of people didn't really have access to computers yet. But then, eventually, when the PC came out, when more and more people started using the internet, you had these people, you had three people who wanted to do, I'm sure the developers here are familiar with the W3 or the web standards rules for developers. So these three people actually helped make the web good for everyone. They were the ones who said, okay, if you're going to build a website, it must be visible on all possible browsers. Can you imagine if they didn't come up with that standard? Well, actually, some people still don't follow that. But anyway, if they didn't come up with that standard, you could possibly not be seeing Google on Safari if they didn't have like the web standards. The other two people who started using UX were cognitive psychologists who were doing work like this. They were doing a lot of eye tracking. They were trying to understand how people used the web. All in all, this phase in the early to late 90s was about making the web better for humans. They wanted to understand how are people using the internet and how can we make the internet better. And this is the really sort of geeky description from the Interdisciplinary Journal of Human-Computer Interaction from Oxford. So if you wanted to tell this to your boss, the goal of UX design in business is to improve customer satisfaction and loyalty. So if you think about it, it was always trying to fulfill objectives. UX is about fulfilling objectives that are beyond, wow, I code really well, or I am so creative. It's not about being creative in and of itself. It's not about being technically proficient in and of itself. It's about trying to solve a business need. But then why user experience? So okay, we get why they had to call it experience design. But then why call it user? Why weren't people happy? Because there's something called customer experience. Customer experience has been around for decades. It's an old business. It's really how companies work. So my question is, who has used YouTube this month? Okay, who has paid for YouTube this month? Paid.
YouTube Red?
YouTube. Or YouTube Red, yeah. Okay, so no one. So everyone, like 90% of the room has used YouTube this month and none of you have paid for it. What does that mean? Does anyone know what the classic definition of a customer is?
Someone who pays?
Yes. So a customer is someone who pays for a product or service. And that's sort of the special thing about user experience design. It's about caring for people even when they haven't bought anything yet. And it became important. So this is a visual from Users Not Customers by Aaron Shapiro. Aaron Shapiro leads Huge, which was one of the first UX agencies. Well, Adaptive Path was, I think, the first UX agency. They're one of the first UX marketing agencies. So the way that you understand user experience also from, I guess, a marketing perspective is when you care about users, you care about not just the people who are paying. You have to care about the people who are interacting with the different touch points of your brand. So that's really what it's all about. And this becomes especially important because I don't know if designers are familiar with the business model canvas, but so this is the business model canvas. And the thing is, in this day and age, business models are no longer as simple as brick and mortar stores. They're so much more complex. If you guys have heard of Birchbox, which is a subscription company where you pay for them to package goods and send them to you. So they're basically not producing any of their own beauty products. They're just putting them together and shipping them to your house. They're also, if you also go to their website, they've already built a very strong community because their community also rates the products. So they're building this whole ecosystem even if you aren't necessarily paying for a Birchbox product. You also have Beyonce, just kidding, no. You also have Vivo. Vivo's business model is also very different. We had to study it before because I used to work for a media company. Vivo is actually run by 3 corporations, which are 2 music labels and Google. slash YouTube. The way that they make money is, well, have you ever paid again for watching music videos? No, right? Who pays for them? Ads. Yes, ads pay for them. And the way that their relationship works is they have actually promised artists a bigger cut of the ad revenue if they release their videos earlier on Vivo than anywhere else.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's how their business model works. Again, and this isn't just about, can you imagine if YouTube only cared about paying customers, we would all not have access to music videos. So again, it's a different way of looking at things, especially for digital. You also have, let's say, Pokemon Go or any other viral game, which usually runs on a freemium business model. Freemium business models are when they provide things for free to certain levels of users, and then to other levels of users, they have paid products and or added features. So again, these are reasons why user experience technically became more popular, especially for businesses these days. This is a sample of what I had to do before. We had to figure out how to monetize and differentiate content on different media platforms. Okay, so this was part of like research I think that I did. So we had to strategize. Yeah, we had to strategize that. Anyway, so this is just so you know that it can be done locally and you guys can do it or in your businesses if you had to. Of course, one of the best international examples of caring about users beyond people who purchase would be Nike. Nike has, really designed their multi-channel experience to engage people. It's very cohesive. Like if you're on a Nike training app, you can download it for free, but it still feels like the Nike world. They now have activations where you have your running trail. Sorry, I don't run. If you're running trail and you don't pay to use the running trail, but it's still branded. It's thinking of that multi-touch point experience to bring their brand to life in a lot of different ways. Even when you aren't paying for their brand or business. How does this relate to data that companies care about? So, as I've shown you earlier, I can talk about a whole lot of data points, but I'm not going to. Because especially on digital, every single thing is measurable. I think that was one of the happiest things when I moved to digital. Because when I was in market research and media research, does anyone know how long it takes to do a survey and how much money it costs? Has anyone here ever tried to do a quantitative research survey from a market research company? Yes.
I used to be from TNS.
Oh, there. Around how much and how long does a market research?
For 300 respondents in Metro Manila, it's about 3 million for ABCD socioeconomic class. But if we're focusing on very niche market, it would be a lot higher.
Okay, yeah. So it takes 3 million pesos, and how long would it be before you got the results?
Standard is around 6 weeks.
Okay, so can you imagine, guys? We came from industries where it would take you 6 weeks and 3 million pesos just to see data.
Why is it that expensive?
Why is it that expensive?
Because it involves a lot of field work. Like we have to hire field interviewers to knock on the doors of the respondents and interview them. So it's really expensive.
Yes.
Sometimes it's difficult to find the right people for your study.
It makes it more expensive. Yeah, when it's difficult there. It's a really expensive industry. So when I moved to digital, I was so happy because you could see data all the time. There's data all the time, and you could ask the developers to say, I want to track that particular behavior. Track it now. Track the scroll. Track the click. So that's an amazing thing about digital. Everything is measurable. So I'm not going to talk about those data points. So the thing about that is, just because you can measure everything doesn't mean you should. Like a lot of things in life, guys. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So what's important is you need to have some sort of framework. You need to have a way of looking at your data that is useful to you. Otherwise, you're just going to be collecting a lot of data that you don't need. This is from Google. They call it the HEART framework. I have actually never used it because I'll talk about why I don't use it later. But I like how it's so we're only here for an hour, so I like how it's simple. And it's a very easy way to look at whether you have covered all the bases. So you have H for happiness. So this is about so this is kind of survey driven. It's like, are people satisfied? So you want to track whether people are satisfied with your product and your business. Then you have E for engagement. This is where you try to track whether there are repeat visits or repeat purchases. Are they coming back to your product? Are they coming back to your business? You have adoption. So adoption is usually where Google suggests that you can Google that. They actually have a very good explanation also. So adoption is when they actually try to purchase something from you, or let's say sign up. So if you're trying to sign up, if you're trying to get people to subscribe to things. Retention, of course, is when they are in your funnel for multiple periods or multiple points in time. And then lastly, you have task success. Are they able to accomplish things that you need them to accomplish? So again, it's if you guys need to track data for your businesses or products and services, this is a really good like checklist to use. They also have goals, signals, and metrics because again, you will sometimes get bogged down by a lot of metrics. So it's important to understand what goals they're trying to serve. Okay, why I don't use this? Because what I guess what I don't like about this is it seems like it makes you measure them all equally, which I don't agree with. So I'm the type of analyst who will look for some sort of God metric. Like there has to be like one thing that we're trying to measure specific to your business. Okay, so different businesses have different things that they care about. You know, don't. This is like what one of the things that I really don't like is when brands would come up to me and say, "Oh, what's the benchmark for page views?" But what if your business is entirely different from some other person's business? What if their website is very different from your website and has a completely different objective? You can't use a benchmark for that. What I would also like to talk about there is, for example, have you guys heard of Medium?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay, yay. Most people have heard of Medium. So on Medium, one of their key metrics, because they want to value quality of experience or quality of reading and writing experience more than page views. And that's why they have a metric for reads. So they want to track how many people have actually finished your content as opposed to just visiting your content. So they're trying to sort of, I guess, grow that type of community. It's not a perfect system. I think they recently changed their metrics again, or like they changed their KPIs again, but that was how they started. So I like how they're very conscientious about what they promote. And you can see it even in their website. So the more simple way of looking at this is it's thinking of your why before you think of your what, before you think of your how to measure something. This is, of course, very popularly known now because of Simon Sinek's Golden Circle. So he said, but he used it more for corporations. Corporations need to start with their why. But I also use it for analyzing performance. Because the way that I think about it is each metric has a role to play. So if you're looking at your business or you're looking at your product or your platform, they're not all equal. So that's why my issue with the HEART framework is it's good as a framework, it's good as a checklist, but we have to understand which one is most important, like which one actually shoots the ball. Like you have to understand how the things sort of play together. Which I'm not going to talk about conversion funnels today, but if you guys are working on digital products, I'm sure you guys have sort of thought about your conversion funnels or how to get people through your website or to a particular objective. And metrics can show you that. Okay. So this was one of my, this is just an example of, I guess, how I have experienced it. So real life example, when I worked with and for a startup, you have a lot of data sources when you're working on digital actually. So this isn't even a huge corporation. I think the most complex data sources that I've had to deal with were when I worked in a company of fewer than 40 people. So the design and engineering team was probably just 8. But from them, I got the analytics data. We had a customer service team, so I needed to gather the content from their calls and tickets. What were people complaining about? What were people most angry about? I also had data from operations, marketing, and business development. And by data, I don't necessarily mean numbers, because they give targets, but sometimes because feature requests. So I was managing user experience for that company, and when you're doing that, you're the one who everyone asks for feature requests. Pakidagdag to, or please add this in, put that in. So for me, that's data. What the types of features that people ask for, they don't necessarily go straight into the product, as people who have worked with product backlog know. You have to sort of prioritize them first and then manage when to launch them. And then lastly, you have field research. So we also had data from field research. And what happened was, because I was getting really, really bogged down by the number of data points that I had to think of. So at some point, I organized them into a spreadsheet like this, where I would take note of the main learnings week to week. So for week 1, what were the main things that main patterns we got? So I was working with 2 spreadsheets. I had one spreadsheet which was all analytics. It was all analytics, and I was looking at conversion from day to day. But then I had a summary spreadsheet which had the analytics together with other things. Can you guys do you guys know why that's important? Why is it not just analytics? Why did I need to care about customer service as well?
Because you wouldn't understand what the numbers told you. Walang story.
Yeah. So it's important to, the geeky word is triangulation, but then I only recently learned that word actually. It's a nice thing to drop. But otherwise, it's really for that. It's trying to build a more complete story, because the numbers don't really tell you everything. They tell you important things, but it's very important to learn from all of the aspects of your business, especially when you're trying to improve and optimize a product. This one I wish I had learned about 5 years ago. Have you guys heard of OKRs from, a lot of tech companies in the US use this. I'm a fan now. I wish I had learned about it sooner. OKRs means objectives and key results. Read up. There are a lot of how-tos online on how to implement this. This is sort of my tip for today. If you guys want to integrate measurement into your UX process, OKRs are very, very useful, because they're a simple way of aligning your objectives from period to period. So we'll just read up on it. I didn't know about it until last year, and I wish I had known about it so much sooner, because it would have helped a lot. And that's why I don't have case studies for it, because I'm only trying to do them now. And why are these important? So I'm sort of a corporate UX person, I guess. I'm not, because all of us work for business. I think that's something that we have to be honest about. I care about users. I do a lot of field research. But I will also be completely frank. I know that when we're in business, we only care about users in as much as they're bringing money to the business. Right? It's not like we care about giving them everything. I once had field research where they wanted, of course, the users wanted to get everything for free. But of course, that doesn't work for the business. So it's not like because the user said, oh, but I want access to all content. It's not like you give that, because you have to think of the business side. Then I think that's what makes UX really a challenging discipline, because it's trying to balance and manage both. And this is why I say I look for a God metric in a way. For me, there are only two key objectives. You're either trying to grow sales or you're either trying to grow profit. And then all of your other objectives have to build up to that. So if you ever work with a marketing team, you'll usually hear, I want to develop new markets, or we're trying to shift the attitudes towards the brand. So if you think about it, it doesn't seem measurable. But if you try to put it in the context of you're trying to grow sales, so let's say the background is because there was a bad brand perception, people weren't buying the product or buying into the product, then you can see what types of things you want to measure. Because you're trying to shift brand attitudes towards growing sales or profit. Okay? Yeah. So for me, those are direct goals and there are indirect goals. But you have to be, I guess, more strategic about which ones you choose. So my question also here is, who in this room has actually redesigned a website for a huge corporation? As in one with multiple brands. 1, 2, 3. What were some challenges when you're designing or redesigning a website for a huge conglomerate? Yes.
Based on user flow or how users use the product.
Okay. How users use the product is a big challenge.
Actually, there's some experience. They're talking about how our client they started the existing site, and then they in end result find out that the user experience flaw design process when it comes to UX, they forgotten to use it, they neglected, they not use it. And as Sir Ben told us that after the coding, the finished coding,
That's only when.
that's the time that they realize that do you know how to improve this slide?
Okay. Okay, so I don't know if you guys heard this answer, but they said they created the website without thinking of how users would experience the website, and then only thought of it after coding. Any other challenges? I guess.
Same exact.
Same. From the back, from the people who raised their hand. Yes.
The marketing department.
What is the challenge with the marketing department?
Before I worked with Group Level.
Pero pwede yung dropping. Okay. So what exactly was your challenge working with the marketing department?
Every department has brand. For example, Globe Tattoo.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Others? Oh, yeah. Tumami.
I guess the dependencies of, for example, if it's really a huge corporation, there would be like sub-sites or sub-products, and if you're going to redesign this part, oh wait, does it match with this? With this,
Yeah.
with this?
Okay. Okay. Thank you guys for your answers. Thank you very much, and it was very comforting to hear. We all feel the same thing.
I feel you.
I feel you all. So, yeah, because one of the things that I think people don't realize is design for corporate is political. It's a it's a political thing. And for those who don't get why, it's big. Yeah, there's a lot of drama, yes. Because design decisions are made by people. And these are people. Yeah, so I didn't realize that doing UX design long term, so when you're trying to build a product, I know that someone asked about maintaining UX, when you're trying to get into that sort of long-term product management UX sort of process, I didn't realize how much it meant understanding internal people. Like, it's not just, so because it's about understanding users. But you don't realize how it's also about understanding the marketing team. Yeah, you don't realize these things because again, these are people with bosses, these are people with targets, these are people with KPIs and who are being pressured by their own bosses. And that's why it's political, because especially when you're designing a product or a website or an app with multiple stakeholders, it's very difficult to sort of get them all on the same page. And that's sort of what makes it, yeah, it's what makes your job challenging. This is actually from HBR. I'm not telling you to read it. I find it funny because they have the new journey management organization. Journey product manager. Journey strategist. Sige, talaga lang.
Describe what HBR is.
Oh, Harvard Business Review. Sorry, it's from Harvard Business Review. They have an article called Competing on Customer Journeys in case you wanted to use this for a presentation and maybe you want to call yourself a journey product manager.
It's a nice title.
It's a nice under the Chief Experience Officer. Yes.
I declare myself.
The Chief Experience Officer. But you worked with Chief Experience Officers, right? You said?
Well, the CEO was this.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's what sort of surprised me about UX. Because again, you think that it's just about the people outside the company that you're trying to serve, but then you don't realize that it's also about serving all of the other teams that you're trying to work with. And by serve, I don't mean you follow what they say all the time. Because that's not serving, that's just blind obedience. By serve, I mean you try to bring them to their fullest potential. You try to help them do their best work. And that's why it's good to work for a data-driven company, and it's good to apply UX in a data-driven company because it actually helps you sort of level up everyone else in the business. But then what does that look like in practice? So I've been talking about, I did give an example of what it looks like in practice. So this is Leah Bully. You can see her talk. She wrote the book UX Team of One. She also recently spoke about the modern UX in modern organizations. And one of the things, I love this slide of hers because she talks about how she made a survey, like Ben, she was trying to figure out what the difference is between high-impact UX teams and low-impact UX teams. And what she found was that high-impact UX teams inside a company worked on things. So the main thesis of this slide is they worked on things outside digital. They actually had work that was more related to their in-store experience, services, customer support, print, and packaging. It still wasn't as high as their work for digital, but she said that was one of the key differentiators that she found. Because the low-impact teams focused solely on digital product. And for me, that was it really resonated with me. Because again, as I talked about earlier, so this is how I describe it to students. When you're doing UX, you can do UX on an interface level. Meaning you're changing the design of a website or app. You can also work on it from a product level. You're changing features of an app. You're helping the business owner or the brand owner decide on what features to put in and leave out. But I don't think people realize the moment you try to do that, you're actually touching on corporate strategy in a way. That whenever you try to tweak something in a design, I think the best case is that someone gets hurt on a corporate level. It has an effect to the company. Like when you try, let's say the type of copy that you put on an About Us page, it should have what did you put in your About Us page? Or even the type of images that you use. It says something about your product or about your brand or the decision making. Like for example, can you imagine for the really confusing websites? I can just imagine that there was a different marketing person for sport, for finance, for celebrity, for style, for cars, and for movies. And I'm sure it was very hard to clean up the homepage because they all wanted to be there. and again, these are people. It's not just design elements. There are decision makers behind these things. And that's why, again, design is actually political. And actually, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's worse if only one division cares. I think one of the worst things is when only one team inside your company cares about your website or your app. I think that's the dangerous thing. Yours is breathing slow. I think that's the dangerous thing because that means the other teams don't understand the benefit to them. Or that the website that you have or the app that you have actually brings no value to their teams. So I would even say strive to get to a point where the other teams want to stick their nose in your UX work. Because I think that's a good sign. If you have, especially if you work in a huge corporation where digital might not be the main thing, if other parts of your company are trying to, like let's say if the sales team is trying to put their nose into the UX work, I think that's good. Because that means you can help them. Maybe it's the sales team who has the most need for, let's say, a digital channel, then why not give them that? Why not give them sort of that space? What if the digital channel can actually help them? And what do I mean? So in real life, we got to work on a project where we were supposed to study the workflow. It was a customer journey mapping project, but for internal customers. So it was actually the people running the website. So what we did was we observed their workflow. Those are different parts of their team. One, I think, is part of their internal creative team. One is part of their internal content management team. One is part of their internal customer experience team. And we noted down, so it isn't super, super quantitative. And what we were optimizing at that time, or what we wanted to help the product builders optimize, was the workflow. Because we were looking at handoff, and we were looking at how many different spreadsheets they had to make and look at. Like there was this one time they were showing us that when they were transferring information, they had to go to like 3 different spreadsheets just to paste the same number because iba daw yung organization nung tatlong spreadsheets. Okay, weird. Also, their sales team had a different spreadsheet from their marketing team, which made sense to them because the sales team would only deal with closed leads and the marketing team would deal with all of the leads. So, but again, they were different spreadsheets and the sales team had to manually paste like closed leads from one spreadsheet to another. It was super inefficient. And you think about it, that's not the job of a UX designer. Like if you think about it, isn't that the job of an operations manager or maybe HR, maybe someone in organizational development? But the thing is, we were helping someone plan a better product for these people. So it's not necessarily, it actually hopefully led to a sales objective, but it was also an efficiency thing. It was trying to save them effort and save them time and save them money. So this is an example of how technically UX work can help beyond interface design. We also had a project where it was about studying the sales workflow, and the sales workflow of that particular client was very analog. It was very person to person, and that's why you had that picture. It's actually drawing. The funny thing is, they had an app. So they had an app to help with sales. But apparently, their actual top performers, so we talked to top performing salespeople and low performing salespeople, and their top performers were really good at creating stories outside, even without using the app. In fact, they didn't use the app at all. The low performer was using the app, which was scary. But see, these are metrics that you want to help with that aren't just page views or aren't necessarily sign-ups. You're trying to help with a bigger mission of the business. So I guess, my question, you don't have to answer now, but it's a good thing for you guys to think about also that in your workplaces, what are the key metrics that you care about? What are the key metrics that your managers care about? As has been mentioned earlier, if you are working in that type of organization, if you're working for very business-minded individuals, you will have to think of this as well because this is what they understand. So, just a rundown of certain challenges I've encountered in incorporating UX in different types of companies. So again, I first worked for a conglomerate. I first tried doing UX in a conglomerate. And the challenge there was digital isn't the main business. So people didn't really care. When they cared, it was scary. When they cared, I was like, oh, okay, now they're caring now. But before they didn't care at all. So one, it gave us freedom, but it was also very difficult to get buy-in. It was very difficult to get budget. I did a lot of UX research with my money. because I thought that was a good thing to do at that time, which I realized was bad. I did a lot of field research with my own money. It was weird. I also tried implementing UX in a creative agency workflow. It was very different because there, it's more of one-man UX team trying to do everything, and then very, very fast timelines with brands and types of projects that don't actually have good business objectives. Like they would say, Ange, can you do UX on a social media campaign? No, but I can try to think about it. But there's poor understanding, but also the objectives in creative agencies, like 80% of the projects aren't very fit to UX. Also, they have very lean teams. Usually, it's one person doing everything, and I'll show the impact later. Lastly, I'm working with product or tech startups. So the good thing about that is they're more transactional. The teams that I got to work with are more transactional. At least they have product managers. They also have a design team. But I noticed that, I guess, similar to the discussion earlier, when you're working in an agile environment, it's really more visual design and interaction design output rather than the research bit. But we were still, like, if you have a good team, you're able to incorporate data analysis into that workflow. So these are samples of workflows that I've tried to do in those different things. So this was a workflow that we did in corporate. So very, very linear, which we had a lot of time. So like initial heads up from accounts, we would have an inciting phase. We were supposed to write a product definition, user stories, user types. We had like a content inventory. It didn't have to be like full, but even an overview of a content inventory. We had info architecture, of course, that needed to be there on that document. And like an estimate of a sitemap and the main URL, of course. So just one of the side notes, our front-end dev boss was super strict. He had it added to our performance assessment that our sitemaps had to be 80% accurate to the final design. But okay, it's just a fun thing. We had a planning briefing before we presented to client, and then a strategy meeting with the client. Very, very linear. It's not visible. This was a workflow that I did when I was at an agency, which isn't really visible. But because see, there's a different set of teams. They have strategic planning teams. They have a product team, but the product team acts as a project manager. Then they have creatives. So it's a very different thing. Again, very linear, very waterfall. Like what surprised me about working in a creative agency and trying to do UX was that their workflow is so linear. Like as a strategic planner, I barely had conversations with the creatives, which for me was weird. Because like, how am I supposed to just turn over a design or turn over a strategy and then just let people run with it? But it's sort of how they work, so it weirded me out a little. Lastly, so I don't have, because working with startups, you don't have time to make things like that. You don't, like, no one will read that. If you're at a startup, no one will read, oh, look, this is our workflow. So I just made this. But I probably improve it. So first, we would have like defining the brand and the product vision, which was a phase that we would do with the founders and CEOs. We would then have gathering the more specific requirements and constraints from the marketing team, the engineering team, the business intelligence team, the operations team, and the legal team. Why would you need that? Because when you're building a startup, it's very operations-based. You have to understand how the product will work. You have to understand, especially if you're dealing with a transactional product, you have to understand what are the legal implications of certain stages, and you have to put them all in the design. So they are also involved in design and prototyping. So we would actually pull them into certain wireframe sessions, not all of them, but representatives, especially from marketing and engineering, to the design and prototyping sessions. The business intelligence, operations, and legal teams, I would only pull in for gathering requirements. And then we would have like a review and presentation phase with relevant decision makers for that phase. And then tracking, sort of like a tracking stage where we would prioritize fixes. So that was what I was talking about earlier, the one where I made a spreadsheet and would track things week to week. So that was with the product team, the marketing team, and business intelligence team. And we would go in cycles. We were working with Kanban at that time, and we were able to do them in, I think we would have a major launch every 2 months and one release every week. One like minor release of minor tweaks every week. So to the question earlier, what we would do was we wouldn't have research in every sprint. We would have to prioritize. Like let's say we would only do field research once every 2 months. Because it's not like we could have done them every single week. So we would do them once every 2 months, but we would always have access to the customer service data anyway and the analytics data. So it was enough to analyze. It was enough to keep us going. Okay. So this is just a summary. Like in my experience, this is what I call minimum viable UX. So this is the main thing that I see. A lot of companies, when they talk about applying UX, usually just really talk about wireframing. Like, oh, we have a UX person, wireframes. Okay. And that person designs based on heuristics, what are best practices, and experience. So, which isn't a bad thing. Again, I guess better than going straight to Photoshop, maybe. Then I realized this is some sort of standard. Like most of the companies and teams I've seen have wireframing in place, some sort of analytics tracking, and also some form of feature documentation. Like some teams will have some sort of user stories in place. Then you have more sophisticated companies. So this is the deliverables version in my experience of what Ben showed earlier. So here, I realized because not all Philippine companies have post-testing or any form of testing. But I know that, let's say, like some of the people from companies here actually do that. And I'm happy when people do that. That when people do post-testing for a design, for me, it's still better than not doing anything at all. Better to test after. So like, even when I worked for a startup, we built the beta first. So I think that's something, because I don't think startups can afford preliminary research, but it's not bad to learn from a live product. In fact, I like learning from a live product. And then there's like full tilt UX, which this is something I barely see, where you have user research up front to inform the features, then user stories or job stories, some sort of IA documentation, wireframing and prototyping, and then you also have post-design testing, and then you iterate. So for me, of course, that's the ideal thing, but I guess like what Ben said earlier, it's hard to be a purist because different companies, different teams have different needs. It's not like everyone will be able to afford like a full UX cycle. So it will be very, I guess it's just important to understand where you guys are. An example of how it's still better to apply UX in a data-driven company. So like this is just an example that I like to use. So in that company we did usability tests again every 2 months. There was one particular thing, because right, usability tests are done with 5 to 6 people. So I usually do them with 6 people kasi the minimum is 5. So I do 3 boys, 3 girls. For all of them, they would keep asking, paano gamitin to? How do you use this? To think, on our website, there was actually, what word do startups use? That American websites, what word do they use? No, what word do they use for that page that tells you how to use something? How it works, right? So there was a how it works because I audited. So based on heuristics, I audited like a lot of the American startup sites. How it works was the best practice. But apparently, so we changed the label based on this. So it used to be how it works, and then because of that, we changed it to something that the users would keep saying. The users would actually keep using a word, but they were just 6, okay? But they would keep saying, ano yung process? So, isip namin, well, we should just use the word process. And that actually increased traffic to the page by 20%. But, so it's if you think about it, they're like small things, but if you, I guess, really care,
It's important to us because we were working on a very confusing product. It was a product that was difficult to explain. So we were super happy with the 20% increase of traffic to that page. But again, it's not just because, oh wow, increase in traffic, yay! It was because that was an important page to explain to people how the product worked. And that was critical to us because, well, people didn't understand how the product worked. What? Yes, I do. It's yellowish, yeah. So just, I guess I'll wrap up before I also end. It's really, good UX isn't seen necessarily, it's measured. So my answer to that question earlier, that question posed to the community of what are examples of sites with good UX. That's why I said, if more Filipino companies published data on how their websites were performing, you would be able to answer that question. But unfortunately, that's not a really popular practice locally. Also, again, strive to get to that point where the other teams want to stick their nose in your work. It's probably a good sign. That means they want to have that website to have a benefit to them. So it will give, it's hard to manage, I know, but it's better than all of them not caring. And then, yeah, so managing UX in a company is about serving people. Whether they're outside or inside your company. Again, don't just follow what people say though. It's not about, oh, sinabi ni ganyan, gawin natin. It's not about that. It's helping them do their best job also. So, thank you, guys.